Welcome back, folks, to the Entrepreneurs Circle. Thanks so much for tuning in and for listening. As I mentioned in some other shows, you may have heard that we are here at a beautiful, amazing event called Podcast Row here at Stand Up New York, held by my buddy Donnie Zolden, James Altucher. And if you're curious a little bit more about Donnie, check out episode 21 of the Entrepreneurs Circle, where I interview and do a deep dive into his businesses. So speaking of his businesses, I have a gentleman here who I'm surprised I've never met before because he's involved in some of those businesses with Donnie. His name is Dan Greenwald. Thank you so much, brother.
Hello there, Eric. Absolute pleasure to be here.
Yeah. How have we not met yet, man?
I don't know.
You look familiar. I'm sure we've brushed shoulders in the crowded room downstairs, but tell us a little bit. Wait, before we jump into to 30-10-0, which I'm sure you're super eager to get into and sink our teeth into. What we like to do on the show is talk about the hero's origin, comic book issue number 1.
Sure.
What was the radioactive bug that bit you and made you realize you were an entrepreneur?
Wow. We could go with a bunch of different
however you want to take
spaces, but I think the overall, the quick easy, both my folks were fully entrepreneurs. My father was a pharmacist that eventually had a pharmacy up in Pike County, Pennsylvania. Was the only one in the county, but he needed to do it to support his family. My mom was, eventual later on in life, a real estate maven. But for me,
real estate investing?
She had a brokerage that she built up, and she was very well loved and respected in Bergen County, and she just had a passion for connecting with people.
Yeah.
And that's what it was about. For me, I think bigger impetus was about I grew up with a stutter, pretty intense stutter, and that was kind of a drive for me to just figure out how to conquer it. And in doing so, that kind of drove me forward, and now it's behind me. But now it's about making impact. Coming out of college, I was a teacher, educator. I was determined to make impact and help people grow and navigate life as a whole. And 30-10-0 is full circle from where I was to where I am now.
So what was it prior? So, from conquering the stutter to becoming an educator and then gaining all the confidence, because I'm sure you got a shit ton of confidence from conquering that stutter and achieving, that massive goal, and then going and then sort of inspiring and helping others and seeing what you do for others, right? So then when did you realize I'm going to do for myself? Was it 30-10-0, or was there anything before that?
It was before that.
Yeah.
It was about, you have a vision for how you see things and how they should be. And I wanted to activate that. It was hard not to activate that. There was something inside that I love building.
Yeah.
My background, academic background's in curriculum design. Right? You have your end game focus, you have all of your different variables. What's the most efficient, quickest way to achieve it, given that people are people? Go.
Yeah. You weren't into D&D, were you growing up?
No.
You would have been the guy. I wasn't either, but I know there's always like the master of the game that sort of controls everything and structures everything for everyone experiencing the gameplay or whatever. Were you that guy?
I wasn't that guy.
But not in that aspect of not that game. But were you the one, like, whenever you guys were playing, when you were growing up, were you the one that sort of would take control and structure things and, say, hey, you're like organizing things? Like, was there early signs of that?
There was early signs of loving structure and efficiency. Just loved the process. I loved how A plus B gets to C and big Lego building.
Yeah.
And I mean, I see it in my kids now,
Yeah.
especially my oldest son, James. He's very similar, which is good and bad, right?
Yeah.
But that's where I think it comes from. And to be honest, there was always a deeper, bigger drive of there's more. Maybe I feel like shit about myself here, and growing up with a stutter, there needed to be more. There was the self-worth was questioned, and I always knew there was a way.
You have siblings?
I do.
Yeah.
Older brother and sister.
Older brother and sister. So was there anything that they were doing that you're like, I got to get there? Or was there, like sibling rivalry? There's always like sort of things that inspire you to like, I'm going to take that good thing that he does or she does and I'm going to apply it to myself. Was there anything of that while you were?
Excellent question, because that's part of the core of, like 30-10-0, that what it's actually built on, the fact that we all have these guiding stories in our life. And it's just part of who we are. We're like creatures, we're animals, we live in a habitat. But what makes us special is that we are these emotional beings. We come out of our mother, and then we're seeking that loving connection, and that kind of drives us forward. So I have a older brother, 12 and a half years older, sister, 16 years older.
Wow.
Yeah, same parents.
Yeah.
Whoops, here comes
gap.
Dam.
Yeah.
And but what dawned on me, and this was, I think, part of the growth of 30-10-0, is that I recognized that my guiding story that I never really shifted was that I was 4, 5, 6 years old, watching my older siblings, getting that love, respect, honor from my mom and dad. And for me, mainly, it was my dad. We each have one core, mother or father, that were really kind of driving us.
Yeah.
For me, it was my dad, and I saw that I was 4 or 5, and seeking that love and respect, connecting that I saw my dad doing with my brother and sister, but I was 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So I then set unrealistic expectations, that guiding story. I always thought it was the stutter that it was in my way, but it was a story that I was never able to achieve. And once I recognized, hey, that's my guiding story, what do I want to do with it? How is it helping me? I was able to shift it.
How old were you when you realized that?
Older.
Okay.
Older. I wasn't aware of it at the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean,
no,
that's,
you're not
that's
aware
very
of that
cool.
stuff.
I'm like, whoa, man, you're advanced,
Sorry, we
bro.
just jumped into this.
Yeah, but so what I'm interested though, the sibling thing, being that young and having such siblings that are that much older. How did you view them? Because like I know that my daughters are there's 5 and 2, but the older one thinks she's the mom. So did they take a role where it's like, oh my God, I have all these parents that are telling me what to do? Was there that sort of challenge when you were growing up? Like there's so many adults, they must have looked like big adults to you.
Yeah, but they weren't my mom and dad.
Yeah.
They were big adults that I really loved, and I also worshiped because they were my older brother and sister.
Yeah.
But I was 4, my sister's out of the house. I'm 6, my brother's out of the house. So, I mean, yeah, they were there. They were guides. They were like very, very high achievers, academic achievers, life impact makers, and they were definitely guides. But I wanted something different and more. I knew that at a young age. I knew that there was something more about, I was obsessed with, understanding how people learn and how people change.
Yeah.
Really obsessed with that. Even as a young kid, I remember thinking about that because I really wanted to change myself.
Yeah.
So that turned into, and that led me into the world of education.
Gotcha. So so let's do that. So education, right? So you're in there. What school was this? Where were you?
Where was I teaching?
Yeah.
I was teaching up in the public school, District 6 in Washington Heights. Then I worked at a local private school here in Upper West Side.
Okay.
And
how long did you do that for?
I did that for about 8 years.
8 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So
8
then
years.
during that time, you had the feeling, the drive, the passion that I'm going to create something bigger than this. Like what I'm doing here is the foundation for something bigger.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And what was that? Take us to that moment.
The moment where I knew I wanted to become a teacher happened in my junior year of college. I was abroad. I was in Australia, this random farm, looking up at the sky. There were cows. I remember the moment to be like, hey, I have to become a teacher, because I was upset that my education, my K-12 education, didn't help guide me to where I was now. I thought they were pretty basic life concepts about being true to yourself and what's important and passion that I came to then, and I was either bitch about it or this like Kantian moral imperative to go and do. And so I started doing. I needed to become a teacher. While I was teaching in the like public schools, and then in the private schools, K-12 has a bunch of limitations as far as helping people uncover and experience what's important in their life. That never left me. So I was in the schools. I rose up the ranks. I was an administrator. I was responsible for helping build up a middle school program in a private school. So that's a for-profit education venture, which most people don't really understand that or see it, but it's really, that's what it was. And I never really let go of that. And then eventually went in the for-profit side of education, then started to consult with startups and eventually outcomes 30-10-0, which was really my methodology to help me keep myself out of my own way and help keep me super grounded and focused and getting what I want. And then while I was doing these like consulting gigs, these founders or leaders of companies, you know, being a teacher, you like to use your own personal story to help guide people through it, right? They're like, forget about the like consulting work. I want what you have there. I'll pay you for what you have there. And out 10 months ago with his birth 30-10-0.
So when they said they want to pay you for what you have there, what was that?
So 30-10-0 is, it wasn't even called that at the time, but what I had a pretty specific methodology, and it shows itself up on a spreadsheet. That on top, it's my 30,000 foot view of what do I really want, not just this generic air is good, money, love, family, but what do you really want? What is that leverage and that motivator? And for me, I found it. And then from there, it's like, okay, well, it's the same business, like curricular structure. What do you need to do in order to achieve it?
Gotcha. So you're in the educational system. You started building this structure, this foundation that you were helping, you know, to move others and to inspire and to have them, you know, find ways through life. You labeled it now. Like, so people saw it, right? You basically patent labeled it and you made it into this beautiful brand called 30-10-0. So what was it that inspired you to say, you know what, I own this. I'm going to put a stamp on it. Was it other people saying, I want it? You just didn't have a name for it? You didn't have something to market it?
That was the start of it.
Yeah.
It was actually Donnie. I got to give him credit. He's like, dude, this is it.
Yeah.
And I guess when I was helping him out with some of his stuff, I remember it up on a whiteboard. I'm like, I kept pushing him. No, come up to the 30,000 foot view. Keep coming up. You're stuck at the 10,000.
Yes.
Go up even higher. Don't get stuck there.
So you were saying that to him.
Yeah, and he comes back and be like, and the 10, he's like, dude, 30, 10, and what's, I'm like, game time, like 0.
Oh, man.
Like, it happened like that.
I love that story. I'm so glad you said that, because when I was looking into your brand, you know, I didn't get it right away, because you're right, dude. Everybody says the 10,000 foot view, and that's all we look at it from. And we think, this is awesome. I'm soaring. I get it. I see all the players. I see the landscape. But to take it at the 30,000 foot view, is that space? Where are we at that point? Literally in the in the atmosphere. It's been, like,
well, that's where planes fly.
You're right. Exactly.
Right.
So that's brilliant. So I love that brand, and I love that you came up with that concept, because so take us through that. So tell everybody at home driving in their cars how you best describe 30-10-0.
Sure. Well, it's a methodology and it's a process. And now, as we're about to launch the 2.0 version, it's going to be a tool in which it helps. The phase 1 of it is that it helps guide you through building out your own 30-10-0, which is, what do you really want? What's your map to go and get it? And what are the measurable actions that you could do every day that's measured weekly, not daily? It's important. Yeah. And essentially what ends up happening is that you have a way to quantify how well you're doing in achieving what it is you really want. And there's two rules built in, not rules, but kind of how the game's played, so to speak. One, it's built on the concept that it's our stories in our mind that make or break us. And so we need to know that. We need to understand that. We need to learn how to deal with that. And so what comes out of 30-10-0 is this concept called Story Watch, in which it gives you the power to control the stories that cause you to act. And you become very good the more you work at your story watch in which you're recognizing your story before they turn into action. And when you capture them, you say, hey, how is it serving me? But it's not just in your mind, you get it out. You use the tool, you get it out of you. It's kind of like when I was growing up, I had a nightmare. I would go crawl into my parents' bed. My mom's like, tell me your nightmare, get it out of your mind and then it won't come back. Same concepts, right? And so we work at this story watch that we kind of are able to own our stories before the mind takes control and drives you where you might not want to go.
Right.
The other is this concept called state story action. The state we're in dictates the stories going on in our mind, which dictates the type of action we do. Strong state, strong stories, strong action. Weakened stories, weakened state. I usually say shitty state. I don't know if I could say shitty. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Shitty state. I haven't found a better word, than shitty.
We get it, yeah.
Shitty state, shitty stories, shitty action. So that concept within itself is the core root of 30-10-0, meaning, and what makes, if we're in strong state, how does one be in strong state? It's basically made up of our mental, spiritual, and physical well-being.
I love it. Okay, so couple questions here.
Shoot.
So the first part, I saw it, okay, it's very high level. It's very somewhat, for lack of a better word, I hate to say, it's therapeutic. It's reprogramming yourself, right? In order to get yourself to the next level. Whatever hurdle, whatever it is, whatever action you're trying to get to, this helps you. But then when you mentioned it as a tool, what is that tool? Is it people? Is it software? Is it paper? Tell us how that works.
Yeah. So phase one, first of all, it's a tool. That's what it was, a spreadsheet and a Google Doc, right? And shockingly, people were, that it helped out a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's really what drives me. It's unfortunately, but money's involved too. You got to make money, you got to support a family. But this is my full circle, like education, not in the confines of K-12 now. And so what it is that you log in, there's a dashboard. This is the 2.0 version that we're in, like alpha testing, about to go into beta testing. Okay. So we are looking for beta testers. Okay. That's my call to action here. But you sign up and you're guided through some pretty focused guided questions that lead to uncovering your 30, mapping out your 10s, your 10,000 foot view, or your like priorities of focus. And then from there, it guides you through what are your daily actions to help you achieve your 10,000, which goes to support your 30. Okay. Kind of like curriculum design, but
gotcha. So how
then let me just that's phase one. Then phase two is that you have a tracker. You have a dashboard that guides you through every single day. And we're working with 2 different versions. We're gonna get some like testing to see which one wants better. But it's on my phone. And every day I need to know, for example, what I need to do about staying in a strong state. I need to work out. This is for me. Everybody's different, right? Physically, I need to work out. Yeah. But you design it to make easy wins. So I could work out at home. That's a win. But it's done on a consistent basis.
Okay. So someone going through the tool is holding themselves accountable.
That's right.
Gotcha. Okay. So there's no human check-in. There's nobody saying, hey, there's no Dan calling me and texting me.
So there can be.
Okay.
There can be. The way that we're trying to do this, the way that this is designed, is that we're going heavy on technology, less so on people. Yep. So it comes with 10-minute 30-10-0 guided sessions. It's kind of like microdosing guides, right? That the 30-10-0 guides are there to support someone as they go through using this tool.
Gotcha.
So it's a little bit different than the typical models in which whether you have a life coach, you have a therapist, and it's not taking the place of them. Yeah. Right.
Gotcha.
So and God bless, there's been a lot of people that have really benefited from this, and it's thrilled. That's really the highlight, when you hear that feedback. You hear after 6 months people are still going strong. They're actually achieving what they set out, and they're transcending what they thought they could do.
Yeah, so it's a tool. People can jump in. They can use this to basically structure their, not just their business, but life, right?
Well, that's it, man.
So it's life, it's business. Is there a sweet spot as far as age, or can somebody jump in? They could be 12, they could be 70. It's for everyone.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, the whole VC world would like to say, we need to know your specific target, and I mean, yeah, we do have a specific target. It's worked very well for entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm using 30-10-0 to help me build 30-10-0. That's kind of the concept.
I love that. Build the plane while it's flying. Right?
Yeah, that's essentially what you're saying. Like, you're on a surfboard, you're surfing the wave, and you have to build your next surfboard because the wave's still going. That's kind of the world of entrepreneurialism right now.
Exactly.
But it works. It's worked. The people that have used it have been in ages 22 to 65.
Okay.
Men, women. This past year, we piloted this for 9th and 10th graders, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
And I just did it with my son, James, who's 9.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that, because when you were telling me about it, and obviously your background in education as well, how this could benefit a lot, because I talk to so many people, and a lot of them are very early in age, and they see what we're doing, and they're so inspired by the idea of being a business owner now. Like when I was growing up, that wasn't a thing. Everybody was industrial age, get a job, right, and stay there for 100 years. Now they get it. The next generation coming up are like, I want to be like you. I want to start a business. But the thing is, do they have the tools, something like this, to get them to think at that higher level, and to get them to start priming themselves very early to set them up? They're going to be light years ahead of us, right?
That's
in their 20s, because as I said, I have, teenagers and people coming up to me asking me how to do it. And I'm always like, read these books first and get back to me. But now it's like, read these books and look into this tool. Right?
Yeah. And I mean, I would even, the big shift is not what kind of, what do you want to achieve in business, and using 30-10-0 for that business. The real shift in mindset is, what do you really want, and how is your business going to help you achieve it? It's a shift in mindset, because listen, the real drive for this, life is too short.
Yeah.
I got hit with the heavy dose that life is really short.
Yeah.
My folks died really close. I had some good friends, and I came out of that. I'm like, what's the point? What do I care about? Is it just money, money, money? It's not. That wasn't me. But it's full circle in this education world, in which, what do I really care about? And how is building a company or consulting going to help me achieve that? The sooner someone can get in touch with that, the more they're going to be super successful, because they're going to be tapping into their inner power plant. Their inner power plant, their leverage motivator, right?
Yeah.
And then if they have a game plan for how to do it, it goes from what do I do to how badly do you really want it?
Right.
And that's the big shift, especially people listening and trying to be this like entrepreneur, and in your mind thinking, hey, if I have a successful business, then everything. What do you want?
Yeah.
It starts there, and there's a process, recognizing your stories, which get in the way of even uncovering what you really want.
Right.
So there's this process and a formula.
Yeah.
How to do that.
Man, you said so much stuff there. It's I'm like, what? So the one thing I want to talk about really quick, and I hope I don't forget the second part, but is so important to shift your mindset. And you gave me an aha moment there. It's to remind us of our why, and starting with the end in mind. So like, yes, we're building businesses, we're building companies, but for what, right? Because ultimately we want to be happy, right? Ultimately we want to spend more time with our families. Ultimately we want more love in our lives. And in order to achieve that, right, we have to do certain things, all the hard and necessary steps to get there, right? To allow us, to give us more time and freedom and things like that. And that's why a lot of us build businesses, right? To have that freedom, to get our time and control of our own time. So that was one aha moment. And thank you for reminding me of that. But the second part, and I knew I was going to forget, but yeah, it's just so inspiring, and I want people to understand that, and also to get that tools like this are necessary in order to have you reprogram yourself. Oh, here's what it was. The story is so key because people oftentimes tell a story to themselves that don't benefit, that don't help them, that don't give them the momentum, or it just holds them back. I mean, there are people in my life that are very close to me that still hold on to stories, and I'll like say to them, and they still don't get it. It's like refocus, retell the story to yourself.
Yeah, but they don't know how.
Exactly. So this is something that can help.
Yeah, no, it for sure can help. But those people, let's just be super clear. The mind that creates our stories, it's doing so try to take care of ourselves. It's
Right,
it's trying to keep us safe.
Yeah.
Right? Back in the day, it was like saber-toothed tigers.
Yeah, I love it.
Right? Now it's like I need to get a bunch of followers, and if I don't, and it's like and listen, my take is life is too short for that shit.
Yeah.
Not saying it's not important, but it has put it in the right place.
Yeah.
And it becomes not as difficult if we have if we break it down to the core steps, and the core steps are designed for easy wins, and the key is that it's also measurable.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm a beta tester, not 100%.
Great.
Because I got away from the whole miracle morning and journaling and when I got to the point where I realized what really journaling was for, not necessarily a diary that you just write things down and your experience and how you're feeling and you never look at it again. When I realized journaling was about data collection and making corrections by reviewing what you've done in the past, and that's what this is. Only the next it's the 2.0, right? So yeah, I'm in, and it's funny because when I started looking into your story and looking into 30-10-0, I was like, man, I can't wait to do a deep dive with Dan because I really want to understand what it is. And now that I do, yeah, I'm in, brother. I mean,
Great.
Let's do it.
Great.
And I hope the people that are at home and driving and cooking or doing whatever it is with their headphones on understand the power of this type of tool, because it really is something that is necessary for you if you want to reprogram or you want to take yourself to the next level, but you just don't know what the actionable steps are. You don't know if there are people around you that can help you. This can help you get there, not necessarily with someone, but like you said, it complements.
Yeah, and then I would even add, because one of the problems out there right now, besides the fact that we're living in this attention economy, that the best of the best minds are designed to suck our focus away from maybe what we want or what we really want. Even when we know what we want, it's hard to stay on track. But there's amazing teachers out there, great books out there, great seminars. But what's the process for taking that and grounding that into your life? And that's where I think 30-10-0 solves that problem.
Right, and so true, because if anyone's out there, especially in your entrepreneurial space, there are so many networking events and seminars, as Dan mentioned, that is a fire hose of information. And when you come out of there, you're like, I don't know what to do first, right? And then you just analysis paralysis, right? I don't know what to do. So this sounds like a great tool that sort of unplugs that for you and just lets everything flow, which is great. So we're getting to the part of the show, Dan, where we talk about recipes for success. Like, what are the ingredients that you throw into a blender that help people form great habits, to become an entrepreneur and things,
Sure. So it's all about strong state. Mm-hmm. If you're not in a strong state, you're constantly going to be going uphill all the time. Strong state is the 1-2 things that you could do every day that's going to help support you physically, mentally, spiritually. Spiritually, I'm not talking about the religion. That could be. But it's built on the core, it's built on the creature power of human beings, right? That if you could find the things to do every single day on a consistent basis, and I'm talking about waking up and doing 20 push-ups, but do that for a week, see how you feel after a week. Drink a ton of water every day, see how you feel after that. Meditate. For me, I don't meditate. I don't sleep. Now that I have measurable data, dude, don't bitch about being in a shitty state if you're not willing to do what you need to do because I know what to do. So I would say there's that, and entrepreneurs, the secret to success is knowing what you really, really want. And if you know what you really, really want, and you're able to recognize the role of money in what you really want, for me, I made it a like idol, a false idol. And then once I shifted away from that, things just started to unfold. So strong state, really work at figuring out what it is you really want. In 30-10 zero speak, we call it, what's your 30? What's your 30? And you should hit it with the like essence. Sometimes in my year, I need to say it 3-4 times a day because life is sometimes really hard. Yeah. But this is a guide to help get you through and really keep you focused on your target of what you really want, and it gives you measurable, winnable daily actions to help you go and achieve.
I love that. I love it. So how can people reach you? What's the best place to check out the 2.0 and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so we're looking at a launch in the next, fingers crossed, week or two. You could go to the website, 30100.com, spelled out. Also Instagram at 30100, LinkedIn. If you want to send me a personal email about this, I'm Dan at 30100.com. We're about to open this up to a bunch of beta testers. We have about 25 per month that we could handle. So sign up now. We'll keep you in the loop. And I look forward to having you as one.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. I'm glad we met and we talked about this, and we gave everybody an opportunity to learn more because this is important. I think things like this and tools like this, especially, someone like you as a founder who came from it and struggled and realized this is necessary. It helps me. It's been helping me, and now I can help you. So thanks so much for being on the show, brother. And
Great.
continue
Great.
talking.
Thank you. Pleasure.